guys, welcome back to Fair Iron and Customs. I'm Michael. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. We're out here in the shop, back working on the F1 again. We're inside trying to work on the floor, trying to figure out where I need to run the braces that run longitudinal in the truck, or up and down the floor in the truck alongside the drive shaft and the transmission. So what I've done, I've squared up the chassis. I've thrown some hard tacks in all four corners to keep the cab and chassis, from moving. It's not going anywhere, and those will be easy to cut loose later. The second thing I did was I cut found out how high the pinion was, cut a little window in here so I could run a piece of welding wire through, and then you have to kind of fudge this a little bit since you can't really hold it at the center. I lifted it up until the wire no longer had tension on it, brought it to the center, and marked a 7-inch outline. Guys, 7 inches is somewhere in the neighborhood of 175 millimeters. And that's going to be the size of the transmission tunnel. The drive shaft tunnel. I'm very happy that it's no higher than what it is. I was expecting it to be way up here, but that's awesome. The truck's laid out. The rear end is not coming up any higher. I think it can come up another 1/2 of an inch, but we're not going to hit. When we make our hoops, I'm going to use flat bar, either 3/4 or 1/2 inch flat bar, and we're not doing the 1 inch, pie cut it and we ain't doing that and all of that. I will cut out some strap. We'll heat it up in the forge, bend it to shape, and that's the way we're going to do it. So my next step now is to cut that hole out down there, and let's get after it. All right, guys. I was going to say I had rescued that from a customer of mine, but it says online metal, so that's something that I had ordered. I may have a tube that's longer than that, because that's about 6 inches too short. But you can see we can use that tube to kind of mock up what our drive shaft is going to look like going into our transmission. And that's got tape on the end of it. Turn that around. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we can just use that to mock up our drive shaft. Now, this is offset a little bit, about 1.5 of an inch from center, so it's about 3 inches over. Or 1.5 from center, so it's 3 inches closer to that side than it is the pinion is. 3 inches closer to the right than it is to the left. So we knew that. A lot of that's got to do with the 9-inch rear end being, the pinion being where it's located, a 9-inch. It's also got a lot to do with the fact that this axle on the left side of this is actually 1.5 inches longer, which is weird. I have to go back and look. I don't think there's a left and right axle on my Ranger, and this should be approximately the same year axle that's in my Ranger. So Anyway, I don't know. As long as it works, that's all that matters. Next, we got to make some tubes to run up front. We're gonna say the base will be whatever we cut that out at, like probably 7 inches. And yeah, I'm gonna take a little break and we'll get back on it. Hey guys, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been out here and done any recording. I've been out a few times and I've cut out some steel and I've made a piece that's going to go across the back of the cab and punch the holes out. I didn't record any of that. We'll get into that in a moment. Guys, I've been massively under the weather. Been in and out of the doctor a ton over the course of the last 2 months. I'm hoping that we are on the edge of having an actual diagnosis for what I've been having going on for all of my adult life, basically. So we may get into that whenever I find out. I will, make that determination when the time is right. But anyway, we're going to jump back into trying to get this floor welded in. I'm going to work on it a couple of days. I need to get started building the panels to go in the Explorer for the 6x9s. And that is one of the projects that I started early on whenever we first started doing the channel, was making rings. As a matter of fact, I need to look and see how many rings I have. I need to get with Glenn because I think he may have one of the rings, because we're talking about putting some 6x9s in this truck or something. I don't remember. He remembers stuff, and I can't remember what I did yesterday. Maybe some of you guys can relate. But let's show you where I'm at. I think since I did any recording, let's see. This was already welded in. The chassis is welded to the truck. I cut the pieces for the transmission tunnel. It's a mess. I cut this back piece. And I'm just kind of figuring out how I'm going to clean up these edges. I haven't got it figured out yet. But I took this piece of steel here, and if you sight down it, you can see that it's got a bow in it, the bad Chad thing, and banged it on the floor. And then I went right to the shrinking stump and shaped it in the bowl in the shrinking stump till I got it to the shape I wanted. Then I took and cut out these notches right here. They're going to fit around those notches in the back of the cab. I'm not going to worry about filling this in because we're going to actually tack this, and all that's going to... Am I even pointing the camera at the right thing? I'm not going to worry about filling this in. We're going to tack it to the cab, and up in the bottom and in the top. We won't be able to tack down along the sides. No, we're not going to be able to do that, but that's fine. Spot welds will get it. We're going to seam seal all this, so no worries. So what I've done is, before I pull it out, this is the back of the truck. I've took and made some marks here and here, and I need to get my square, and we need to go another 1/2 inch, and we're going to make a cut on this side so we do not cut into, the back of the cab when we're cutting the center section out. But I want to leave it whole until I get it welded in, if that makes any sense. Okay, guys, so this is why, I don't know if y'all can see that, That's why we wear our safety glasses. I got that finished welded in. I went ahead and cut the middle out. Now I'm kind of to the scary part because I've got nothing keeping that cab from going down. Let me throw a couple. I'm gonna throw a couple of C clamps on it. We're gonna need the C clamps anyway, but because I'll show y'all how I'm gonna set this up. Trying to keep anything from moving about. It's not gonna move this way because the cab can't move. It's welded in 4 locations. But I think it could sit down and make it want to bow those up just a little bit. I mean, we're going to pull it back down. We're going to lay another piece across it and clamp it. But anyway, we'll show you that in a minute. Okay, guys, you can kind of see, wow, I got that on nighttime by accident. It's actually picking up pretty good inside. You can see how I've got that set up. I have the sides of at the front, they're spaced out evenly with the tail set shaft of the transmission, the same spacing as the back. The transmission tunnel's coming in at an angle because the rear end's offset. I could have offset the motor and transmission, but guys, it's not going to make that much of a difference. So, let's weld it. Just spotting, hit it a spot again, and that's because the metal's thin and I had a gap to fill. So we're going to leave this piece in and this bar in for right now. I want to go ahead. Can y'all even see me? Y'all aren't even paying attention to what I'm doing. We're going to have to fire the cameraman. Camera person. So, let's see. We're leaving this bar in, this piece of rusty bar. This is just to keep me level across the floor. The next thing I need to do is figure out what we're going to do about the transmission. And by that, I need to figure out, kind of in my mind, I want to set this up to where if down the road I want to put an automatic in it, I can put it like an AOD in it. So I may need to get some measurements off the AOD that's in the Volkswagen so we can finish setting this up. But let's see. Yeah. So I feel like this is not going anywhere for right now. We're going to have to do more welding. I got to make these hoops, and I'm making it out of 1/2 inch thick strap. We'll have to bend that in the forge. Excuse me, guys. We'll have to bend that in the forge to get this piece made. This piece will be identical to this piece, and then we're going to put another piece of this 2 inch back here, and then I'll have a place to create our mounts that'll be super strong for the cab. Hooked to the cab. In the back. We're going to run a cross brace across the front of where you would be sitting at, so you'll have a nice heavy brace here and a nice heavy brace here. I don't know that we need one this thick, but I'm going to put it in there because I got some. And that may be where we stop for today. All right, guys. It's a couple days later. Gosh, the meds they put me on, my God, dudes, it had me so screwed up. I have been screwed up for a couple of weeks now, and I think it's all because of the medication I've been on. Stopped taking it for one day and I feel fabulous. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. Let's see. So the other day, I fixed that little corner piece, made that little corner piece, cut it out. I cut it out a little big, or not a little big, but it could have been a 1/4 inch longer and would have fit better. You know, I can jump a gap. So, you know, we left it like it was. So all I did on the other side, and I did the same thing on this side, was I laid a piece of metal in there like that, but held it on the bottom side and marked it off where I wanted to cut it. So we're going to cut this one and shape it. When we get that done, we'll come back. Weld it. Guys, I didn't put y'all where y'all could see. What I'm doing on this top, since this is thin wall and I got it cranked, I'm just putting hot and heavy tacks. We could just turn the welder down, and I blowed a hole in it anyway. Brilliant. It'll be all right. It's just a rat rod. Okay, so I'm leaving myself a little bit of a radius here. I'm going to build a panel that's going to run down and tack weld to the bottom down here when I get where we can turn the cab up on its edge. Damn, I hate I blowed a hole in that. We won't be able to weld the back sides of these because we won't be able to get to them. It's going to be fine. Like I said, when we tack weld the whole floor down in here, none of this is going anywhere. So, to the next part. Okay, guys, so I cut these two pieces out and welded them in. Now, between this bar right here and that bar right here, the door that runs between the door jamb and the one behind it, there's going to be a piece of 10 gauge plate welded to the bottom of it, and that's where it's going to, the motor mount, that is where the body mounts are going to go, somewhere approximately here. We're going to create an angle up from the side and strengthen it from the bottom. We will get into all that later down the line. We're nowhere near that far along yet. But so I'm going to call it a night for tonight. Tomorrow we are making another one of these 1x2 braces to go between here. That's going to be right at the front of the seat. And then we're going to do one right at the front up there. And I'm hoping I'll have time to do the rest of the connect it up to this bar up here. Anyway, so that's what we're going to try to get done tomorrow night, and then we'll be able to start making the hoops. So, see y'all in a bit. All right, guys. Unfortunately, that's all I've got time for this week. You know, life happens. I've actually, one of the things that I'm dealing with in my life is I have a pinched nerve in my back. And the last couple of days I've been doing some fairly, I'm not going to say strenuous jobs, but, you know, it takes its toll. So I'm not even able to bend over and work on the truck today. So that kind of sucks. But anyway, hopefully next week we'll get this floor framing finished. We shouldn't have a whole lot to do. I'm actually going to show you where I'm going to go to. I'm going to make the surround that goes up to this brace for the transmission. I don't know that we're going to do the other brace yet. And we're going to make the hoops. And hopefully after that, we'll go ahead and start making floor panels in the next video on this truck. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to help Glenn work on his Ranger. We're putting an evaporator core in it. So I know there's probably a lot of people that normally watch my channel that's probably not going to watch that video. But those, how to fix things tend to do well over time. So I'm going to do a video on it. That'll be next week's video. Y'all get a chance, stop by, watch a couple of minutes of it. Subscribe, and, leave a comment or something. Try to pump it up in the algorithm so people will see it. And then we will be back on this one, working on the floor. And sometime in the next few weeks after that, we're going to start making bomber seats for this truck, because I need to know, I was trying to figure out where to put the floor of this front brace for the seats yesterday or day before yesterday when I was out here, and I don't know, because I don't know where the seat needs to be, and I won't know where the pedals need to be until I know where lots of things have to come together all at one time when you're doing stuff like this. Things you got to think about, lessons we learned building the Volkswagen. We're going to have to redo the chassis, the entire chassis on that car, so I'll be able to drive it. And we'll get into that when we get back into working on it. But, yeah. Next on this is floor and bomber seats, and then we're going to work our way forward. We're not going to weld the floor in. We'll make the panels for the floor and Cleco them in place. And whenever everything's ready, we'll spot weld everything in at one time. So, but that's down the road. We also got footage coming up on the Explorer. I have yet to start that, but I need to go ahead and get started on that. So I don't know how I'm going to work that in. You may get a couple of videos on the Explorer building a stereo. Y'all watch those videos, because I'm going to show you guys how to make fiberglass panels for anything. And if you can make fiberglass panels to go in your door panels to go in your hot rod, or make a fiberglass panel to go between the seats, guys, it all plays together. You can use it on a new car, you can use it on an old car. It's all going to play in together. It's all knowledge and how you choose to use it. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time.